I think lived experience is often essential. Everyone has lived experience of something or another, but I think especially in the mental health sector, you become a lot more sympathetic and empathetic towards the language that you use with people and how you reach out to people, and you kind of pick up the warning signs of certain things because you've experienced it yourself. And I think with lived experience and with the experience of me being bereaved by suicide, it's often easier for me to kind of see the warning signs of burnout in people or young people who might be at crisis, and because I've seen those warning signs before.
Someone working in mental health, 3 years at university, 5 years in the job, whereas the person in the chair, the person with the lived experience, has been doing this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for the whole life leading up to that point. Why wouldn't you have that skill and the resource and the abilities that got them here today as part of your plan? So I think it's the biggest trick that mental health care and social care have missed over the last 100 years.
Somebody with lived experience can, at some point in their lives, when they feel able to, articulate the truth in an authentic way, which might give us a different understanding of our environment.
I think in terms of solving issues and problems, I think they're the most important people that need to be listened to, the people who have actual experiences of those problems. Learning something academically is totally different from going through the experience, and I think for very long we've tried to deal with problems without listening to the people who those problems have been affected by. So I think this is a very positive turning point in time where people with lived experiences are now becoming classed as experts and are being given opportunities, resources, and even more skills to address those problems themselves. So I feel like it's very important.
I think for people to hear it directly from the people that have lived it, it just means it's much more powerful. And I've been to events before when they read, off a piece of paper and they call it a case study. And, when I listen to that, I think, well, actually, where's that person? You lose that, that person, that identity. So to actually see somebody in front of you, that's real, and hearing it firsthand is just so much more powerful.
Yeah, I think lived experience is the best way to teach somebody about the experience, because if you've actually been through it, then you're very knowledgeable on it. And I've seen a lot of people with lived experience turn around their experience, and now they're doing such powerful work for vulnerable people. So I think it's really important that you've been in that position to understand how the people that you want to help feel. So I think somebody coming in and trying to teach somebody about knife crime or something like that, and they've had no experience themselves in it, it's a bit of a hit and miss, really. So I definitely think lived experience is really important to be able to deliver, work on it.
Yeah, for me, I think it's about authenticity. If I'm sat in front of someone and I'm trying to impart my knowledge, they need to be able to believe in me in order to make a change. And obviously, if we've been through similar situations that they're going through, it just helps to bridge that gap and helps the message to actually penetrate through.
For me, it's not valued enough at the moment. It's increasingly valued by more people, but I think lots of organisations are still struggling with this thing around lived experience, and I think there's some resistance around it in some places as well, and I've come across that in lots of different ways for a very long time and continue to do so, and one of them is quite often around people's professional expertise. And you can have professional expertise and you can have lived expertise and lived experience, and the two aren't mutually exclusive in any way, shape or form. So wanting to, help people make the connections between those things as well, but you can't possibly, I don't think organisations can possibly deliver any kind of support service or social support services, whatever the context is, without really having an in-depth understanding about the people's lives who are using those services or not using those services because they aren't good enough, so you can't get the best possible stuff in place without making the time to seek out and listen to people's experiences of life and then utilising that to make it better.
I started volunteering at Number 11 because I have lived experience. I was homeless off and on for 10 years, sleeping rough on the streets. I got involved in prostitution. I was heroin and crack cocaine addict for over 20 years. When I wanted to get away from it all, there just didn't seem to be the right kind of services. And the services that were available were not coordinating. Giving somebody a methadone script when they're living rough on the street is just short of ridiculous. Expecting them to stay off drugs. It's the only thing that's keeping them sane, sleeping in a sleeping bag in a multi-storey car park every night. And I just thought there needed to be places out there that took a different approach. And Number 11 takes a holistic approach. We need to look at the whole life of this person. What's standing in the way, what is they're stuck, which is a big thing at Number 11. People are stuck, and it might be mental health, it might be homelessness, it might be drugs. It might just be a mindset that somebody's stuck in. And we try to take them through a journey from their stuck to independence, and there's a load of places in between, but somebody really gets beside them and cares about them, and I think that's what's missing from a lot of the services.
My name is Sonny de Hadley. I'm a freelance consultant known by Social Leadership Guy, and I'm an individual with lived experience of drug addiction, homelessness, involvement in the criminal justice system, etc. I've just now got off stage where I spoke about my experiences and how they shaped not just my views and opinions, but in terms of how I then took an organisation to create a market-leading organisation and some of the learning that I had over that time. So my talk today was about how I activated my lived experiences of addiction, was introduced to or exposed to a strategic environment, and then how that was used to shape the organisation and develop it over time, as well as also then how my lived experiences and the experiences increasingly of all the people that I was coming into contact with would give me the ammunition to be able to influence strategic and policy makers at a national and also international level.